Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is the Black Therapist. I'll be meeting with Vivid Health New York, and we're going to have a great conversation. I'm going to invite them to join. And let's thank you, Roxine. Always support and appreciate you. Definitely want to get people to join this conversation. Uh, Meeting with Vivid Health, we're going to be having a conversation around youth mental health first aid, and this is a well needed training. I have brother out here with me from Vivid Health, so we just going, people are joining the room, so we just gonna get right into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, Aaron?
Good, good, good.
Good, good. Glad to have you. Glad to be here. I know we getting some people starting to hop
Yeah,
on little by little. I know it's after work and people just getting settled in.
yeah. It's a Friday, but you know what I'm saying. I appreciate everybody hopping on. This is
Of
an
course.
important conversation.
Yes, sir. So when you want to get started, just let me know. I know we're waiting for one of our facilitator instructors to
Uh,
hop in.
yeah. What's his, what he's gonna be coming in? His
Uh,
hygiene.
yeah. Let me get that one second.
Yeah. So while brother I was getting started, we are going to talk about mental health first aid. I participated in the training before, even as a clinician already. And Vivid Health is going to be hosting and having a conversation and actually doing the training. And this is for youth, and it's so important that everyone has the basic knowledge around mental health symptoms and other information. So Vivid Health is going to be having an event. It's going to be Sunday, October 6th. It's going to be a training. They're going to be able to offer you an opportunity to take part in this training.
Give me one second, Aaron. I'm trying to pull up his.
Yeah, but when he enters the chat, he can just say, "Yo, I'm here," and then I can do the invite.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Even better.
Yeah, So
Yeah.
let's get right into it. We got a lot of people in the live.
Nice, nice. Yeah, man. So yeah, thanks for that. Again, the important initiative, what we're looking to put together here. So again, I am Al Adams, CEO of Vivid Health. We are a corporate governmental health and wellness company. We do education, training. We work with personal development, and we do influencer initiatives or activities. We just had a great event over the summer, our first annual Hip Hop Health Wellness Expo, where we're bringing in, influencers from the community, influencers from the hip hop world, and kind of sharing stories and, helping to connect the youth to healthy habits, whether that's physical or mental, and trying to just bridge the gap. So we thought that was a great way, a inaugural event to kick that off. Like Aaron was speaking of, we're going to be hosting, or we have facilitators that are going to be training in mental health first aid, in particularly youth mental health first aid. So again, we're an organization that, anytime have the ability to kind of connect with our fellow community members like Aaron, we always excited about that so we can kind of give something back to the community in a meaningful way. Our tagline is Wellness 360. So we like to incorporate a mind-body approach to everything we do, and something to make it sustainable, and we can be able to have long-lasting effects. This training is very important. I know everyone's been following the news. What's been going on with the youth nowadays is really becoming out of hand. Shootings, aggression. I see one of our facilitators just jumped on, Joseph. He can speak a little more into that. But the aggression is becoming out of hand. You know, the what do you call psychosis or whatever is going on with the youth, depression, suicidal ideologies. All of those things are becoming more and more prevalent. And really needs to be addressed, and especially in our Black and Brown communities, to try to get that some understanding as to what is going on, and how can we help as a community, as a tribe together. So, I won't spend too much time with me. That's just a little bit about Vivid Health, but I know we have Joseph here, and he is our expert facilitator, and he's going to be getting a little more into the overview of what the program is about, who it's for, why it's important, and eventually we're going to talk about how we can register and get this inaugural initiative kicked off. What's up, Joseph?
Hey, everyone.
What's going on?
Good evening. Hey, nice to meet you, Aaron. Was looking at some of your posts here before I signed on, and you're doing amazing work.
Oh, thank
Keep it up,
Appreciate it.
especially in the black, black and brown community. It's so essential that. And I was even looking at your store. I got to get one of those shirts.
Oh, thank you.
Black kings need therapy too. That's so true.
Yes.
And
Definitely.
so many times, we don't try to make ourselves knowledgeable about mental health.
Yeah.
There's a stigma in our community, and it's so unfortunate. But that's one of the reasons why mental health first aid was brought to the United States. This is a program that originated in Australia, and it was brought to the United States in 2008 with adult mental health first aid. And then they realized, like there's a lot of young people suffering from mental health challenges and illnesses, and they wanted to do something about that. So youth mental health first aid is designed for any adults 18 and over that work with young people in any capacity, right? We do trainings in schools, we do trainings for nonprofits, we do these trainings for, religious organizations, right? Entities, some churches. So anyone that's really interested in working with youth and understanding their mental health and how to support them in time of crisis, it's welcome to join this training. The mental health, the Council for Mental Health Wellbeing, they are the ones that designed, and they revamped the program in 2019 for the U.S. based programs. So they revamped the adult mental health first aid and also the youth. And we even now have a teen mental health first aid program. That one is more geared towards teaching young people how to notice the signs and symptoms of mental disorder in their peers, right? So that way they can also seek support. As you may know, young people, the first people to find out that something's going on and something's wrong or someone is in a crisis, it's another young person, right? You don't find young people coming to an adult firsthand to tell them what's going on. So they usually tell a friend, a classmate, someone in the community that's of their same age. And that's why it's so important to train these young people with the teen mental health first aid. But more so with the adults that work with young people, it's important that they are trained to be able to identify the symptoms, the signs and symptoms, and in addition to that, learn how to intervene. So that's where this program comes in, right? The youth mental health first aid, and it focuses on five action steps that people can take to be able to intervene effectively until professional help arrives in a situation, right? Now this the training focuses on teaching people how to take action in non-crisis situations. At the same time, how to use it in crisis situations. So I want to hear, I don't know how many think we have a couple of people joining us here. I want to see, what do you think will be a crisis situation for a young person if they're experiencing, mental health disorder, or they're having a
And
mental health crisis?
if while they are chiming in, I want to know, for those who are watching, is it just for clinicians, and or could it be for parents that want to learn, that they can also join the training? Aunts, uncles, grandparents. Is it open to individuals that can benefit from this training?
Oh yeah, definitely. So this is a public education program, so it's open to any adult, no matter what kind of work you do. If you want to do it just to understand your own teenagers better, and learn how to, notice those signs and symptoms in them and how to best intervene, then you're more than welcome. So parents, uncles, grandparents, everybody's welcome. It's really it's a very open training. Um, some of the topics that we do go into in the training can be sensitive, right? One of the extremes of mental health illnesses, if it's not, there's no intervention in time. As you guys know, some of the young people may consider suicide, right? That's the extreme. And so through this public education program, we want to teach people to identify those signs ahead of time, so that it doesn't get to that, right? And there's many things we can do. One of the action items that we talk about is just being there, right, and listening. How can you show a young person that you're truly listening to them? That's
Yeah.
one of the that's a whole section. It's one of the main action plans, action items in the plan, right? It's called the algae. If you were to summarize it, it's the algae action plan. So every letter stands for something. And we can get into that in a little bit.
Okay.
But I want to know, from everyone here, like, how do you how do you identify when a young person is in crisis, or what are some examples of,
So
a young person?
someone said state being suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
depression, lack of self worth. So those, right. So those experiences, when someone identifies that, um, you may not want to take it lightly. And this training is so vital for everyone to be able to recognize and hear some of those signs,
Mm-hmm.
and know what is some things you can ask, what are some things that you can say or do to support them. And just want to highlight that this does not replace a mental health professional, right? But it's giving you kind of some tools to support them until they can get into a facility or with a professional. Because sometimes it's just being present, asking the right question. As one of somebody stated, Foxtrot Rock said that she knows someone that died by suicide on his birthday, because he was in a crisis and no one answered their phone.
Wow.
So,
Mm.
and I'm sorry to hear that, because that you hear those stories very often. Is what can somebody say, right? And went to someone in that situation. So this is just giving you tools. It's a very vital training to for everybody to have, to be able to gain those skills. And as I was talking to Al about, is that we are seeing an increase of youth dealing with a variety of issues, and parents are not really sure of what to do. Um, and oftentimes, people are just overwhelmed and dealing with so much, they may not even have the capacity or the bandwidth. So this can kind of center, give everybody kind of pause to identify and recognize that it's truly important to be able to be proactive than reactive. So that's why this training is so important.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And because suicide, it's such a sensitive topic. Anytime anyone even hears that word, right, there's there's a trigger, right? And many times that trigger causes us to feel fear, right? Like, I don't know how to, I don't know how to interact with a person that's, thinking about suicide. or that's, suicidal, like, what do I say? Like, most people just rather walk away, or not even, like, because they become fearful, right? And so they flee the situation instead of having the tools to be able to support that person at that time. And that's one of the things that training does. We really go into, and we practice, like, what would you say and how would you say it, right? Because it's not just what we're saying, but we talk a lot about body language. How are you positioning yourself? What tone of voice are you using? What is your face saying? Because we have to be present in that moment, and show people that they matter. Um, but even beyond that, right? Like, because again, that's the extreme, right? If you're dealing with someone who's actually already considering suicide as a way out, just in the daily lives, right, of young people, of being there for them. There's a term that we use in mental health first aid, and it's just saying that every child or every young person needs their mama, right? MAMA, and that really stands for they all need a meaningful adult in their lives, and they need a meaningful activity. So young people that are engaged in meaningful activities, whether it's sports or a hobby, a particular hobby that they really enjoy, that they truly enjoy, and they have some sort of mentorship, or at least one adult that they look up to and that they know cares for them, right? These young people are less likely to fall into mental health crises, or challenges, because it builds their resilience, knowing that they're part of, of such of a collaborative group, that they belong.
Joseph, I wanted to add something. We're in a day and age, of course, of social media. Social media is heavy, obviously, right, with adults and definitely with younger people. How has that played a bigger impact, and what have you seen in terms of, changes with social media? How can this training help with that? I know it's more of a self-esteem. Think of a lot of images these young people see on social media. A lot of it's not real, right?
Hmm.
Um, so they aspire to have these same images that they see, and a lot of them are not obtainable, it's not real, and it's kind of a spiral effect from there, right? Having low self-worth, right? They don't feel worthy. There's
Hmm.
different issues with their physical appearance, and I know that's probably leading to more and more issues when we talk about mental health. So how would that training address that, or does it address those type of issues?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't talk about social media, like, directly in that sense, because we're teaching people how to respond, how to intervene. We do use media in the course itself, so we have videos that we show, and we can see how young people are dealing with situations. There's different young people there, and some of them actually, through social media, that's how they communicated that they're struggling, that they need help, that they want to end their lives, kind of thing. So social media really, it's twofold, right? Because technology can be very helpful, if we're using it the right way, but it also opens up a window into our lives that sometimes we rather, not have open. And if you think about it, you just before there was even technology, mass media, and so much access to social media, you only had to worry about what's going on in your community, right? Like, you had to be worried about, the neighbor next door, right? Or what's going on in your town. But now there's so much access, right? Like, I have to be worried about what's going on in my family, in my town, in my country, and now worldwide. Can you imagine? It's really very nerve wracking. It can create a lot of anxiety for people. Something's happening. Like with the pandemic, right? Oh, that's happening over there in China, and all of a sudden we get the pandemic. The virus, the coronavirus over here.
Here,
So
right?
we just never know.
Mm.
Um,
One
and
sec,
also,
one second, I'm intervening. We have new people joining, so I want to explain. This is the Black Therapist, and I'm on with Vivid Health, and they are going to be leading the youth mental health first aid training. It's going to be via Zoom. They're going to have the link. I'm going to have the link in my bio also, so come check it out. But go to Vivid Health page and check it out. And it's Joseph, right? You can check out Joseph page also. And the youth mental health first aid, it is for open to everyone, and it will give you training on how to recognize symptoms and how to support that youth until you connect them with a mental health professional. So that's open to parents, grandparents, educators, health aides, people in schools, organizations. If youth organizations, we have a lot of people that have their own not for profit, right? I think it's important that you are also, educated on how to recognize what are some things to look out for, and then how you can connect them to those resources. So again, this training is going to be on Sunday, October 6th, and it's going to be Zoom, so everybody could attend. And yeah, it's going to be a great time. So sorry, just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So, yeah, I just wanted to add to that. Make sure once we finish with this, we'll have the links posted, and you will go through the registration process and what that entails. Again, we're excited about the initiative with Arron. And again, for the people that just came on, our tagline is Wellness 360. So we want to incorporate a whole mind body approach to any kind of training or education that we're doing. And Arron has been so, graceful to be able to offer resources outside of the training, and he can speak a little more on that. So after you're completed with your training, if you had any other questions or you needed referrals, you can kind of redirect yourself back to Arron as the professional in the space to help you get that help as well.
Yeah, so yeah, Joseph. So right when you get into continue with kind of like what they can, without going into details, because we want them to attend the training, right? So kind of what they can expect, why they want to attend this training, and who should they spread the word to? Who should they send this live to?
Yeah, so this live could be shared really with any adult, anyone 18 and over who wants to know more about, how to help young people who are facing mental health challenges. And they don't even have to be in a crisis. They don't even have to be facing challenges at the moment. But just having the knowledge on how to, the same way CPR works, right? Like you don't use CPR every day, right? It's when you're ready for when something happens. So it's the same idea here, really, just to be ready at all times. So if you already know CPR, this is like the next step to that, right? How to help someone calm down in a crisis situation, or how to de-escalate. We go into all of those details, right? And I'll tell you a little bit about how the course is broken down. So once you sign up for the course, um, there is a portion of it that you have to do before we do the live training. So there's a 2 hour self-paced portion that you would do on your own through the Mental Health Connect platform. And all you need to do, right? They mentioned here, there's a link. You just need to give us your full name, and all we need is an email address, and we will be able to, sign you up and enroll you in the course. And once we do that, again, you have to complete the 2 hours of self-paced work before we sit for the live training, which again will take place on October 6th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you'll be like, whoa, that's a long time. Yes, it is a 5 hour training, right? Live training. Of course, there are breaks in between, but you have to commit that time to be able to participate in the course because it is extensive, right? We go from the very surface level to talk about, just how young people feel in everyday lives to the very deep levels of talking uh, uh, how to help a young person that's actually considering suicide, right? So it's a delicate topic. It needs time. We need time to process. I love how the way that the training is set up because it's very interactive, right? So you're not just sitting there reading something, right? of course, there's parts that we're reading, there's other parts that we're engaging in group work, and there's other parts where, on your own, you're thinking about your own experiences and how that influences the way you interact with young people in everyday lives, right? And it's very essential, right? Because how you approach a young person when they're dealing with a mental health crisis is going to make all the difference. If you approach them and you make it all about you, it's not going to work, right? If you say to the young person, like, let's take, for example, a breakup, right? Young person goes through a breakup. It's their very first breakup. For us as adults, we're probably gone through maybe 4 or 5 breakups already. So we're like, oh no, that's nothing, like don't even think about it. You have so many other relationships ahead, That young person's not thinking about their future relationships. They're heartbroken, I mean, just if you bring yourself back to your first heartbreak, you'll be able to show some empathy, right, for this young person. But what to you might be a little thing, to them it's like the end of the world. So we have to validate their feelings, and we got to let them know. I know it hurts, right? But I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to if you want to go, get ice cream, whatever, go see a movie, right? Just be there for them and with them through that process, because it could be very lonely, and that's what leads when young people feel lonely and they feel outcasted from, the group. That's when they tend to think more about suicide. And so we have to keep them engaged. We have to keep them connected to their sources of strength. We call that's actually another program, but it relates to this, right? Their sources of strength, and their support system. Because if we take them away from their support system, they're not going to thrive. Um, Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Joseph. I had two questions. So, with this training, do they receive any type of certification? And also, what about if for whatever reason, maybe they don't have the time commitment for that 5 hours, can this be broken up into a couple of sessions, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, thank you. Great question now. So yes, the training could be broken up. We can do 2 parts where we do, the self-paced training that everybody has to do, and then it can be broken down into 2 days. It could be 2 evenings where we're doing 2.5 hours each. So we review half of the curriculum the first night, and then the other half the following day, or maybe even the following week. So, but it does have to be done within 2 weeks. And everyone that participates in the training, this is a certified training. So everyone that completes the training will become a mental health first aider. That's what we call the graduates from this program. And you'll have your certificate, and everybody will know that you have received the training and the knowledge to be able to help young people that may be experiencing mental health challenges.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm trying to see if there's any questions in the chat. Um, definitely.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's via virtual, right? So is it a Zoom link? Is it WebEx?
Yeah, yeah, it's a Zoom link. So
Right.
once you sign up and you're completing the self-paced, I usually try to send the Zoom link the day before the training. So in this case, we're talking about October 5th. So I will send out the link to anyone that has already signed up for the training through Vivid Health.
Okay. Now they're asking about price, and someone said they do psyche evals and make the recommendation for inpatient admission on a hold. Do SSI or okay? I'm seeing more young people every shift. Yeah. Definitely. I work with children and teenagers, and it's definitely important that people recognize and having these conversations, checking in with them, and not just a superficial check-in, but truly checking in. We are in a different state than ever before. Children are definitely experiencing, going through a lot, and it's important that we recognize it. And it's great that there's programs and services such as this available just to allow layman people to have insight, right? Because we say there's not enough programs, not enough things. So, there is some things available just because I feel like education is truly important. And as a therapist, I try to inform my parents about their children and kind of some best practices and tools to support their child. Because as a parent, you just want, oftentimes you want the best, just the best for your child, and oftentimes you don't know what to do. So here is one way. Those who may know someone that's experiencing it, definitely show forward this live to them, so they can kind of get some inside information, and then they can hit the link. So someone wants to know, is there a cost associated with this training because they're in upstate New York?
Yeah. So if I can speak on a little bit on the cost. So there is a small cost in this. I believe we're looking at what, $65 or something minimal in terms of what we're talking about in a whole. Overall, it's a small investment in, especially if you have someone in your life or someone that you know of, that could be useful for. We are working on having a grant program. So we're looking to have a lot of courses sponsored for us, moving in the future. I'm looking at some local elected officials and see if we can get this kicked off. But this is our inaugural month of getting this started. So yes, that's in the future what we're looking at.
Okay. So there you have it. The cost associated with it. It is Sunday, October 6th. Once you do sign up, you will receive a link the day before. There is some work that is required ahead of time, and then you can sit for the training. There is opportunities to break it up in the event that you cannot do the entire 6 hours. So you can have a conversation with Vivid Health around what that looks like as well.
Good questions, man. I see we got people from LA. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see that who is it? Chimurali? She said that's not bad at all, and I agree. It's not $65, right? You spend that on a shirt, right? And this is knowledge that you're gonna use to be able to help young people that you care about in your life. And the cost includes everything. It includes all the materials you're gonna use. There's a mental health first aid manual that is shared with all the participants who join, as well as a participant processing guide, which is basically a booklet that we follow as we go through the training and we do the different activities. Again, the training is very interactive. So there's not a dull moment. We start talking about how to approach the young person, how to listen to the young person, what kind of resources we can link the young person to, what can you teach the young person to do for themselves. That's even more powerful, right? Like even helping them create a kind of sort of like a safety plan for whenever they feel that they're having those suicidal thoughts. And at the same time, the training concludes with a little bit on talking about how to take care of yourself, right? That self-care piece. Because many times when we're offering this support to young people, depending on what's going on in your life too, it could be difficult, right? It's an emotion. It could take an emotional toll, and it can even cause. We call it vicarious trauma, right? Like it's like trauma by proxy. If someone is experiencing trauma and you're constantly providing support and engaging with them emotionally, you're very likely to also start feeling some of that trauma, right? So we talk about the importance of self-care, so that it's like you got to take care of you so you can be able to take care of others. That's what it comes down to. So that's also a part part of the training.
Excellent. Right. So it's a number of benefits of attending this training, right? We have some people that are watching that are truly interested. They're saying it's a
Hmm.
great idea. So how you can truly support us is just please pass on this live to those. Just forward it to as many people as possible. We know all dealing with someone deal with something. So please, that's the best way to kind of get this out there. How can we turnkey this information and actually support the youth? We see them going through so much and dealing with a lot, and we're seeing it in the news.
Mm-hmm.
Especially here in New York, we're seeing just so many different circumstances, riding subway surfing, and just guns, so many things, which is stemming from like what is happening, what is going on with you, right?
Okay, go
So just
ahead.
having those conversations. We know what
Yeah.
crying for help looks like. So yeah, and this is something that everyone, uh, we need help from everyone, right?
Yeah.
Mental health
Yeah.
professionals are inundated. So one thing is, and every mental health professional is not in everyone's home. So it's like, how can you support the people in your everyday life, right? Because the
Mm-hmm.
big question people ask me is, how can I get this person? I love to go to therapy, and that's one of the toughest questions. Is how can you? Because there's no kind of finite way to do
Yeah.
that, but it does start from one being present. It starts from being available. It starts from listening to key terms, key things that they're saying, and be able to ask reflective questions. And that's something that this training can kind of give you more insight to. And what are some things to say next, right? Because oftentimes we get flustered when we hear that word, or you kind of say, "Nah, I don't know what that," "Nah, you ain't," to kind of not take it seriously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
I want to give Aaron. I just want to give a little example of when we talk about that section of suicide. We do a whole section on identifying some of the myths and facts about suicide. And I just want to ask here, just to get an idea from the crowd, whether we know these things or not, right? Because again, we all agree that knowledge is power. So the first question is, right, whether, you got to tell me whether it's a myth or a fact, and I want you to put it in the chat. Um, Talking to a young person about suicide will increase the likelihood that they will think about and consider suicide. Is this a fact or a myth?
That's a good question.
Are people putting it in the chat? Let's see. Myth or fact?
right. So again, the question is essentially, do you feel that talking to youth around suicide will increase the likelihood? And and
Mm-hmm.
and and that's a popular
Yeah, yeah.
question.
So Marcy, you got it right, Marcy. Marcy, the MSW, you got it right. It is totally a myth, right?
Yes,
And we feel
correct.
like
Is
that's one of the wrong things that happens, right? We feel that talking to a young person about suicide is gonna give them an idea, right? Like of something that they could try or whatever. No, but what it really does is that it shows them that there's someone there who's not afraid to touch on the subject matter. Because think about it, many people that are considering suicide, they isolate, right? And they don't want people to know that they're considering suicide. And so when they isolate, they're really hoping that someone will come into their lives and show that they care, that they're not afraid to talk about the topic, that they're not going to freak out if they say this. One of the things that we share, this is more in the adult mental health per se, is that in any given moment in our lives, each of us thinks about, suicide. Just thinking about suicide doesn't mean you're gonna go ahead and do it. But at some point in your life can be so stressful, so depressing that it could be in your 50s. It could happen when you're 15, right? It varies for everybody. But one of the things is, at some point in our lives, we do think about suicide at some point. And just having someone there to talk about the topic actually feels like a relief, right? So let's not be afraid to talk about the topic of suicide, and that's one of the things that the training is geared to do. Like you said, Aaron, right? Like, how do we get someone to therapy? Maybe maybe they don't need to go to therapy yet. Maybe you need to learn to identify what they're going through. They need to see from you that you're truly listening, that you care, right? Because, we both, I also work in the mental health field, and we know that we cannot force someone to go to therapy. That's not going to work. We have to just, give them the tools. We have to encourage, right? But at the end of the day, it's really going to be on them, right? But we can always have a positive influence, and encourage them to seek help.
Yep. Yeah. And as Al said, wellness 360, and I do say Black Kings need therapy too, but I also encourage wellness, and everybody needs wellness. So whether you're going to therapy or not, wellness is important, right? So wellness can be your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, and
Hmm.
oftentimes it's not just suicide that youth is dealing with; it's wellness, right? They not be engaging in healthy behaviors. So that's substances, that's hanging with the wrong crowd, right? And we want those parents to know also, right, that this is beneficial, right? Not just about just death by suicide, thoughts of suicide, but also just about my youth is struggling with just being well and positive thoughts and things of that nature. Well, that may support you too in terms of how that may help you too in terms of how to engage with your youth on that level. How to engage with that youth on that level, right? If it's an organization, if it's a friend, if you have a not for profit that you work with the youth, how can you have those kind of difficult conversations, right? Giving you the tools to kind of withdraw yourself, right? Reduce yourself so that you can be more empathetic and listen more. And that's really what this is about. It's about being able to listen, not saying, well, back in my day and all of that stuff, but truly remove yourself, decrease yourself, and actually be a listening ear to
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And there's a key component that, even in the training we talk about this. There's a key component that's one of the most helpful things that we can help a young person develop, so that they can deal with the challenges of life in general, in the best way possible. Can anyone think what that is? It starts with the letter R. What is this key component that, young people, we have to help young people develop, so that they can face life challenges, in the best way possible? Again, it starts with the letter R. Let's see if somebody can get it. Let's see it in the chat, just making it very interactive here. And I like asking these questions because this is exactly how the training goes. We ask these quiz questions. Oh, there we go again, Marcy.
Well,
Resilience. There we
Mar-
go.
Mar- Mar- Marcy
That's
know the
people too.
answers.
Marcy's on it.
Yeah,
R for
Mark's ready.
resilience, correct.
She's
Yeah,
ready for
so
it.
the higher the level of resilience that a young person has, the less likely they're gonna be, bummed down by the challenges of life in general, even if it's a mental health challenge, physical challenge, whatever it is. So we have to work on helping them increase their level of resilience, and at the same time, on the opposite end of that, we have to help to decrease the amount of ACEs that they deal with. So a lot of ACEs, right? Adverse childhood experiences. So the less ACEs a young person faces as they're growing up, and the higher the level of their resilience, right? It's gonna create stronger youth, right? To be able to deal with anything in life, right? Not that we can eliminate, right, the ACEs completely, but we have to do our best effort to kind of lessen the ACEs, and at the same time increase the resilience, and then we're gonna have thriving
yeah,
youth.
yeah. Wonderful. Marcy, she got 30 years. I'm right behind you, Marcy. I feel like I've been doing it for not as long as 30 years. I'm like 20. I'm like 20 something years uh, doing this. So yeah, that's great. Adverse childhood experiences. I'm hearing. um, resilience, which is something truly important, and people don't really understand or may not understand about resilience, and that there are key protective factors in helping someone build resilience. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a level that we learn that there's a level of resilience within, but there's also protective factors such as church, pastor, auntie, uncle, godfather, your favorite, first cousin. Um, it could be a teacher, right? It could be a school social worker, and those things, because those people are there doing some of those skills, those very skills that the training will kind of help you to fine tune, because they're there, supportive, listening, and they know that they have someone to go to. And ultimately, we know that's what the youth need, someone that they can connect to. And sometimes parents just need support in finding that person, right? It may not be a parent. We say it may not be a parent, but who is that person? So this training can kind of help build on those skills for someone. We don't know. It may not be for your child. It may be for somebody else that you come in contact with. So, yeah. So I believe we're about to wrap up. The importance of this training and the links we're going to have those provided
Yep.
is going to be in my bio. And don't forget those to click, kind of click on Vivid Health for more information and all the dope events that they're going to be doing. This is just one of many things that they're doing. So follow their page and check it out. And then we're going to see you at the training on Sunday, October 6th. Anything else, you guys? Final words?
Yeah, thank you again, Aaron, for, when we reached out for this initiative, this partnership, it was a great synergy for what you're doing, what we do, and what we like to do, moving forward and, from the community and build out. So I want to thank you again for that. Joseph, of course, thank you as always for the work you're doing and your work in the field and, with your instruction that you're giving. And I know, the audience will definitely have a great experience once they log on and go through the program. I will have the link posted in my bio shortly. Aaron's going to have it as well. Again, just follow us at Vivid Health NY. And of course, you follow at the Black Therapist _therapist. Joseph, I think you can put yours in the comment if you want as well.
Yeah.
And again, we look forward to that. Spread the word. Very important. A lot going on today. Very important. You just may be able to save someone from going through something that they shouldn't go through, or at least help them until they can get other resources.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So just so you know, I will be one of the instructors leading the training on October 6th. And I'll do all the follow-up with, registering everyone and getting you enrolled. So you'll feel free to reach out. Okay. Once you sign up, all my information will be provided to you. Just to follow you along throughout the whole process.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank
you,
you for
man.
the invite, Aaron, and for hosting us today.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, I think it's a great. Like I said, I did adult mental health first aid, even after social work school. I attended it.
Mm.
So definitely, like I said, it's important that the layman community understands just basic information and things to look out for. So again, like, share, and subscribe, as my daughters say. Send this to everybody. It'd be beneficial. And we're going to see you guys on Sunday, October 6th for the first training.
Yes, sir. Good speaking to you. Good seeing you,
All right.
Aaron. Good seeing you, Joseph.
All
Likewise.
right.
All right. Y'all be good. All right.
Salute.
Bye, guys.
All right.